Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful morning. The fall temperatures are starting to really show themselves off. First thing in the morning, it's getting a little cooler here, and it's making it really nice just to walk around the property and go on our morning walks. We're checking on the goats this morning. They are loving the new spot Ryan just moved them to. We've been moving them along the edge of the tree line. Every couple days we move them, and that way they're clearing all the poison ivy and underbrush, and yet they're getting lots of fresh grass too, and it's kind of a win-win situation. Plus also it helps reduce the parasite pressure because they're always moving to a new spot. Now, right here next to our goats in this tree line, we have a little bit of a dangerous situation. Can you guys spot it? There is a really big hornet's wasp nest right there. Now, I'm not getting really close to it, but that thing is huge. Our plan is just to leave that wasp nest alone, and we'll try to take care of it later this winter. I'm kind of excited though to see what it looks like inside and get that thing down and look at it up close. As long as no wasps attack us in the process. Hopefully this winter the colony will have died off before we open it up. On our morning walks, we always like to go check on the animals and see how everybody's doing in the morning. We already saw the goats, so now it's time to move on to the sheep. You might be able to hear the little truck going in the background. The kids have this little battery operated truck that they drive around. The older boys already ran ahead of me and are already in the field with the sheep, hanging out with them. Hey sheep. Yes, they're all girl sheep. Do you like your sheep?
For more sheep.
You want more sheep? How many sheep do you want? 10 sheep? We have 8, so we're not too far off. Well, it's unanimous. Both the boys say we should get more sheep. Currently, we have 8 sheep, so I don't know that realistically we'll get any more though.
This is a one truck.
Our chickens are right here next to the sheep. We've been having the chickens follow behind the sheep in the same paddock and moving them so that hopefully it's reducing our parasite load a little bit. Most of the chickens are still in their house and hiding in the shade underneath the coop. Let's see if there's any eggs. Oh, 2 eggs. Just 2 eggs so far this morning. There'll probably be more by the end of the day though. I see Amazon delivering a package, so let's go check that out. I just got a fun new box. I have a lot of tomatoes in the basement in our really big deep freezer that need to be put up and canned and preserved. So I made a little Amazon purchase. Hopefully this item will help me put things up. I got crazy morning hair here. I ordered a really big new stock pot. Last year when I was doing all my canning, I cooked everything in a water bath canner that I borrowed from my sister. It was a thin aluminum bottom pot. I just didn't really like how thin the bottom was on that pot for actually cooking up really big batches of things. So I ordered a heavy duty big stock pot to do my preserving this season. Yeah, it's a big pot. All right, this is pretty heavy. The stock pot looks brand new. I ordered this pot used on Amazon, but it looks brand new. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you go on Amazon, oftentimes underneath like the buy now button, there is a separate section of like Amazon warehouse products where you can buy the same product but used. Sometimes that's a win and the products look brand new, and sometimes they're kind of beat up. It's just kind of hit or miss. But I decided to take a gamble on it and order this one used, and it's brand new. I don't see a single scratch or anything on this pot. And being a heavy duty stainless steel pot, I figured it'd be pretty hard to bang it up. And it's still in the original manufacturer box. I think someone probably just ordered it and returned it, and that's why it was used on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description to what pot I ordered. I haven't used this yet, obviously, since I just unboxed it, so I don't have any personal reviews on it, but I'll link this exact pot I bought on Amazon in the description box if you want to check it out. You know what? For kicks and giggles, why don't we just weigh it and see how heavy this pot is? Got my kitchen scale. Sometimes it's hard to read this scale when you put something big on it because the weight's way down there. Oh, you know what? I think it's maxing out the scale because it keeps going black. Well, it's heavier than the scale will allow. So I think this scale maxes out at like 3 pounds. It feels a little heavier than that to me anyway. So I'm pretty pleased with that. That's a really great find to get that used on Amazon. Again, I'll link it in the description if you want to see it for yourself. But this will be really handy for when it comes time to preserving everything. Right now, as I've been harvesting tomatoes throughout this gardening season, I've just been putting them straight into the deep freezer. That way, once the harvest is done for the year and I have all the tomatoes we're gonna have, I can preserve them and put them all up all at one time. And so I wanted a really big pot that I could do that with a little bit easier versus my smaller stock pot that I have. It would be several batches in that pot if I'm making sauce or something. This way I can make a giant batch of sauce all at one time. The tomato vines look pretty rough right now, but I'm still harvesting quite a few tomatoes every day. It's definitely slowed down quite a bit, but I've still been pretty pleased with how much we're actually getting out of the garden still. When it comes time to use this pot for the first time and put up all those tomatoes, I'll be sure to bring you guys along. There's gonna be a lot of preserving and canning we're gonna be doing here soon. So subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss out on that video. In the meantime, let's go out to the garden. Yesterday I told you we were headed out to the garden, but it's actually the next day. I brought the garden indoors, as you could kind of see. I let the kids pick some flowers. They had lots of fun, and they helped me put them in jars. We brought them back in the house. And it's a good thing too, because it is a yucky day outside. It's really windy. It's supposed to be that way for the next several days. I figured most of these would probably get destroyed in the rain anyway, so it'll be nice to have a little extra color and cheer of nature indoors from the outside. Let me show you up close of some of the different flowers that we picked. So this fun thing in the middle is Gomphrena. I have 2 different colors of Gomphrena growing, a light pink and then a darker, I don't know what you would call this, magenta, pink, purple color. I think next year I want to grow some white Gomphrena too. I think that would be pretty in floral arrangements, having little bursts of white here and there. Instead of making bouquets, I just picked all the Gomphrena and put it all in one big jar. I think it's kind of fun just to have one single variety in each jar sometimes. I do like making bouquets too and mixing different fillers and flowers together. I made a really pretty fall inspired bouquet that I gave to a friend of mine at church the other day. It had orange tones and just made it seem like fall. And the sun was perfect at golden hour when I took a picture of it too. So I had to show you guys that too. But sometimes I don't have time to make a bunch of bouquets and I want to enjoy all the flowers. So I just put them all in different jars of single varieties. If you watched our Dahlia planting video, I'll link it in the description. I planted a bunch of different varieties this year and a bunch of new ones. Ryan was really sweet and he went out to Aldi and Lidl and bought me a couple different tuber packs from there. The tubers that grew were beautiful. However, they looked nothing like the pictures that were on the packets from Aldi and Lidl. That is something I've kind of found to be true when you buy flowers from like discount stores. If you've been with our channel, then you probably know one of the roses we planted next to the house from Costco was a completely different variety. Still beautiful, very fragrant, love that rose, but it's not the color that the package said. Same thing was true from the Aldi and Lidl tubers of Dahlias. They're beautiful, but they don't look like the package. They still grew though, so it's still a flower. Just know that if you're planting a landscaped color scheme of something and you want it all to be the same color, you probably don't want to buy it from Aldi and Lidl unless you're willing to transplant it. So let me show you some of the different varieties up close. I don't know the names of some of these because, like I mentioned, they're from Aldi and Lidl and Costco and different places, and they don't look like the picture. So if you know the names of some of these varieties, let me know in the comments what they are, because I'm generally curious what I have here. I think this one's really pretty. This is one of the new ones from Aldi or Lidl. It's kind of yellow in the very center with white and these bright pink tips. This one, however, was supposed to be red and white. Now, the package had multiple tubers in it, and only one of the plants that I planted actually came out red and white. It's not the best example of that particular dahlia, but this is what all of these were supposed to look like. As you can tell, two completely different flowers, still both beautiful, but this was the only plant out of the package of tubers that came true to the picture. There's a lot of yellow cactus type varieties that are growing in the garden this year. These were all supposed to be kind of spiky petal leaves like this, but instead of this vibrant bright yellow, I believe these were supposed to be an orange salmon color. Now, there are some other really beautiful ones that grew true to form. This white one was supposed to be white, and that one turned out lovely. This is probably one of my favorite ones this year. I just love how pure white it is and vibrant. I think it's really pretty. Now, Ryan did buy me a few different plants from Eden Brothers this year. Most of those came true to form. Some were a little different. I believe this one's Lydia's Baby or Linda's Baby. I'll put the name on the screen. I'll have to look it up. But I think that one's lovely. And I love kind of the more compact shape of the pom-pom on that. There were a few Cafe au lait tubers that we ordered. Some of them definitely have a more pink undertone. There are a few, I believe the one on the windowsill. Let me go grab it. I think this one here, I just grabbed it off the windowsill, is probably the most true to form Cafe au lait tuber. It's much more cream in color versus the pinker in color ones that are popping up. I prefer the cream one, but you can't say that that's not beautiful too. I think they're both lovely. I have a couple roses here because the roses definitely would have gotten shattered in the wind. Jude the Obscure and Earth Angel are the two roses that I have in this jar. Some of them are a little bug damaged and got some black spot on them, but they still smell really, really good. And we just picked a few zinnias yesterday too, not very many. The kids picked most of those. I'll do some up close shots of different things as well so you can see a little bit more of what I have on the table here. I always like having cut flowers in the house. I just think it brightens up the place, especially on these rainy, gloomy days. It'll be nice to have all these flowers dispersed throughout the house. I typically fill the jars with water and put all the flowers in the jars here on the countertop and then leave them for a little bit before I disperse them throughout the house, because normally the bottom of the jar gets a little bit wet and then I don't want to go put a wet jar on top of my piano or something and then have a water ring on the piano. So I just want to make sure everything's nice and dry before I disperse them. And it gives me a good opportunity to show you guys all the flowers all at once before they get scattered throughout the house. If you liked today's video, then please consider subscribing. It does help out our channel. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye, y'all.